Social anxiety and rejection. 3 tips to help you overcome social anxiety and the fear of rejection. In this video, you will receive 3 tips to overcome social anxiety and fear of rejection. The first tip is to help you understand social anxiety. The second is to identify your fear of rejection. And the third is to implement an action plan to deal with rejection. My name is Delia de Jesus, and I will be your host for this presentation. I hope the information presented herein will enhance your life and empower you to become the best you that you can ever be. Let's get started. To understand social anxiety and rejection, it is imperative to understand that the human species is a social species. It is natural for everyone to want to be liked by anyone they meet and to want to be accepted into social circles. The first circle that acceptance is critical for human survival is the family unit, because it is where everyone begins their journey into a world of social interaction. When families are loving, caring, and accepting, then the possibility that one begins a healthy journey into social interactions increases. However, when families lack the ability to form healthy social bonds, the possibility that social anxieties will present themselves in future interactions also increases. For this reason, psychologists look at early childhood experiences within the family unit to find answers that could potentially tell them how anxieties and phobias materialized in later life years. You can help yourself identify where your anxiety first became evident in your life by looking at your early childhood experiences. However, there is no quick and easy answer to where the origin of your anxieties began. So, if you can understand that everyone experiences social anxiety at one time or another, then you are on your way to knowing that no one, and I mean no one, is exempted from the stresses that accompany social anxiety and rejection. It is just that some people do a better job at hiding their anxieties than do others. Hopefully, this tidbit of information can empower you to become more relaxed in knowing that the person you are about to meet is also experiencing some level of social anxiety, with the fear that you might be the one doing the rejection of their persona. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, social anxiety is a social phobia. A phobia is a fear of something. Social anxiety, therefore, could be the fear of judgment by other people. Judgment by others could be interpreted to mean that we are not good enough for other people to like us or to accept us into their social circles. As a result, someone suffering from social anxiety might feel rejected, isolated, and lonely. The second tip is given with the hope of helping you identify your fear of rejection. This tip is only a beginning of learning how to identify your fears. It is not intended to make one identification a permanent one, because it isn't so. Please keep in mind that the concept of feeling rejected is vastly complex, and describing it in greater detail is beyond the scope of this brief presentation. This tip assumes that your fear of rejection comes from the idea that you are being judged by other people, for whatever the reason you think you are being judged. I would like you to consider for a moment the possibility that you might be rejecting yourself first before anyone else has the slightest chance of rejecting you. Self-rejection could be the first rejection that takes place in your psyche. Self-rejection begins with a series of self-judgment issues that could be difficult to recover from. Self-judgment could mean that you feel worthless and that you do not have anything important to contribute to a social engagement. You might feel that you must agree with what others are saying because you do not know how to assertively disagree. It could be that no one ever taught you how to be assertive and disagree with something or someone in a social situation. As a result, you lack assertiveness skills, but you don't know this because you never learned how to be assertive. As you can see, this topic can go into many different directions, thereby creating a web of complex social situations. For that reason, identifying your fears will not be easy, but consider that you need to start somewhere in order that you might get clarity about your fears. Identifying your fear of rejection does require you to determine what it is that you are afraid of. First, start by asking yourself this question: what is it that I'm afraid of? Then allow your mind to provide you a series of answers. Take note that your first answer may not be the only answer, but it will give you an opportunity to explore your fears further and in much greater depth as you continue to find answers to this question. Write down all the answers that come to you and explore their origin. For example, try if you can to go back in time to determine when was the first time that this answer first came into your life. Then begin exploring that answer according to the way that it has manifested itself in your life throughout your life years. Take note also that identifying your fears is not the end of this exercise, but the beginning of exploration that will lead you through a maze of personal experiences in your own life. This task will then create the details for the third task in this video, which is to create a plan of action to begin dealing with your fear. Tip number 3, implement an action plan to deal with your rejection. A plan of action is only a series of steps that you plan to take to overcome this fear. Work through one fear at a time. After you have conquered that fear, then work the details out for the next fear, so on and so forth. Use this series of steps to help guide you through this process. A simple example is also provided herein to help guide you through this process. Here's a list of 6 steps. The first step is write down your fears. Yes, write them down. Include all those fears that prevent you from engaging with others in social exchanges. It could be 1 fear, it could be 5, it could be 20, it could be more. The point is that you list down all of your fears. This will help you have a clear focus of which fears impair your ability to have healthy and productive social interactions. The second step is select one fear out of the list that you have just written down that is the most damaging to your peace of mind. The third step is to write down what you will do to overcome that specific fear. The fourth step, you're going to put a target date on when you plan to conquer that fear. The fifth step, you're going to celebrate yourself each time you have faced that fear and you conquered it. And the sixth step, as you celebrate the conquering of each fear, you're going to implement the plan for the next fear. The following is an example to help demonstrate how you're going to move forward in this exercise. In the first step, and for the sake of simplicity, I have identified only 3 fears. For example, I fear speaking up about a topic that I disagree with people because I think people might get angry at me. The second fear, I fear that people will think I'm weird and will reject me. And the third fear, I fear that people will think I'm dumb. Step 2, The most damaging fear to my peace of mind is the fear that people will think I'm dumb. Step 3. I will overcome this fear twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. I will look in the mirror and say to myself, I am as smart as any person in this room. Yes, I did not finish college, but I can learn new things if I choose to do so. Step 4. I plan to conquer this fear in 2 weeks. By this date, I will continue to be reaffirming to myself the fact that I am as smart as anyone in this room. And I will write down the date 2 weeks from today. Step 5. I am going to celebrate myself. I want to buy a balloon that says congratulations. And I will hug myself for achieving this great accomplishment. And it is a great accomplishment because I truly am as smart as the next person in this room. And step 6, I will move on to the next fear by doing steps 1 through 5 on my list. As you can see, this is only one example of the many ways in which you can achieve great success in conquering your fears. Eleanor Roosevelt, one of the greatest women in American history, said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So take your emotional power back and do not give anyone consent to make you feel inferior." Here's a recap of what you learned in this video. You learned 3 tips to help you overcome your social anxiety and fear of rejection. First, you understood that social anxiety is a normal part of everyone's life. You learned that everyone you're about to meet might themselves be feeling some level of social anxiety. You just don't know that they are because they hide it very well. Second, you learned a tip to help you identify your fears. And finally, you learned how to create a plan of action to help you conquer those fears in a healthy manner. If you follow the tips given to you herein, there's no doubt in my mind that you will begin a healthy ascent to a happier and more productive life. This marks the end of this presentation. If you found this video to be valuable for you, please hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and press the notification button to be the first to watch new videos that I plan to upload each week. Also, please share it with your family and friends and anyone that you know might be experiencing social anxiety and fear of rejection. Please leave your comments down below because I do enjoy reading them, and I will answer any questions if you have any. Also, let me know if there are other topics that you are personally interested in, and I will be sure to honor your request and provide a video for you that covers that topic. One last thing, I am available for one-on-one coaching, group talks, and keynote speaker engagements. Thanks for watching and be blessed. Goodbye for now.